Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to CCxRC. In this video, we're going to be talking about my new Pine Trees tire inserts for 1.0 wheels for the 24 scale vehicles here. And I was just making these for myself to run in my Scrambler tires here, which are, as everybody knows, my favorite. And so I wanted something that I could just have a bunch of and, you know, just load up a bunch of different wheels with these tires on them and inserts in them. So in doing so, there's been a lot of people interested in getting some. I had some only available through Reaction RC for a little bit, but getting a lot of requests for them. So I thought I'd, one, talk about them here, let you know what you're looking at, and two, show you how they perform. And we've been running them, and I've had several iterations before we landed on this. It was kind of a little happy accident as well. So very, very happy with how they're turning out. But originally it was going to be a triangle design with an inner circle in here. But one of my prints didn't work very well, and it had a gap, and I saw how much better it moved with these trees being able to flex like this. So I ended up cutting them all and testing. I just cut all of them around, and they were kind of catching each other, but overall the way it worked was really nice. And so I went and redesigned it to be these pine trees that you see here. Different variations of the triangle sizes and widths of the bases and different things in there until we found one that I felt like I liked the best. And that's what you see here. There's two different colors, and the only reason there are two different colors is wheels have different sizes to them. So these are teal wheels, and these go with the teal one because it's a bigger inner diameter to fit around their wheel inserts that they have in here, the little metal ring, so for the bead lock. Whereas these are like the Endura ones. These are the wheels that I sell, but they're the same size as Endura makes and a lot of other companies. And so these are more like 28 millimeter rings, and so the inner part of this one is smaller to be able to fit kind of snugly on there. You can see that through the looking down the hole here, that the one in the back has a smaller inner diameter, even with me squishing the one in the front. So that's kind of where it's at with that. Anyway, I just wanted to show you the difference, because there's a difference in the tire compounds, and you're going to get different performance out of them based on what tires you use, and that's going to be to preference at that point, how much squish you want. The RC foil drive tires are really soft, and so that's kind of just how it makes the tire work. And yeah, these little guy racings are not as soft, but you still will get squish, especially in the middle here, because there's an air gap in order for it to kind of wrap. And so we left the air gap, and I also left a little on the sides for the tires to kind of be able to squish out and the back end to push in a little. So there's a little bit of gap there for the tires to flex and do their thing. But yeah, I mean, overall, I've liked both setups. This is a different type of compound, and they just hook up really good. And it's a little bit stiffer, so there's terrains that I like this on better maybe than this. But we'll show you both of them here running. And I already did the run with these and just switched them out. So it's the exact same car, and we'll end with the second run being with the Trench Kings that you see on now. But the first run that I'm going to show you is going to be with these tires on. And I just decided I should probably come in here and show you what's inside of the tires so that you had an idea of what we're dealing with. But I don't have plans to make them for a bunch of different tire sizes or wheel sizes. These are what I primarily run, and so that's what I made them for. I made them for me, and yeah, I guess I'm just selfish. No, there are companies out there, FlubberStufferz makes a million really awesome inserts for you guys that you can get from them. So this is just one that I've been running and doing some testing with, and I just like the squish, and then you get this firm part here as it kind of wraps and grabs. And so I just feel like that little bit of resistance it gives for the tire to hook has been nice. And so and they're not directional. You can go either way with your tires. So You don't have to flip out the foams to do that. So that was the other thing that I liked. If I wanted to run, some people will run scramblers forward and then flip them around and run them backward to get a different type of tread depending on the course. And so that's kind of what I wanted, was something I could flip my tires and have them not be directional with the foams. So anyway, without further ado, that was a long intro. Let's see them run. I pretty much made them for these tires right here. And that's kind of what I really find them to work the best in. And you can see the flex that the tires get is, even though they're soft, it's a mixed amount of flex. So depending on what you're hitting, you can see it squishing out right there. Looks pretty good. Downhill, you're going to see even more. You can see it kind of gripping onto that rock there. I just set up some gates here on this. We're going to do them in these. You can really see it squishing in there. Just to show you kind of how it performs and, you know, why I've been liking them so much. They've been really giving me a lot of side hill capability. I don't know about these gates that I set up. So we're gonna do it with these, and then I've also got them in the Trench Kings, which are very similar tire, but with different shape and a different compound for sure. You can see it squishing just nice and soft. There's its gripping. Look at that. Just pulling. When it hits that pine tree point, it just finds the traction because it's got a little bit of relief there. So it'll wrap around, but then it'll pull. You can see it doing it there too. So let's see what we got for this gate. Lots of squish there. Just keeping it nice and slow. This is how I love to crawl right here. About this speed. I made these gates a little forgiving. They're really just to kind of set a course for me to have to work within. This one's a bit of a problem that I've created for myself here. This is not it might not even be a doable gate. It's definitely a reverse gate. So we got 2 reverses going. Still haven't hit there on the right side. We're gonna hit there if we keep going forward. So we're gonna back it up. See if we can't drive through. That helped. That put the back end where it needed to be. But you can see also how I did make a bridge in here, but I'm using it to have to go across as well. There you can see the tire really gripping in on that piece of branch. I'll leave you a little bit of a backwards. Well, the rock that was on just fell. Again, it's so I can repeat this when I do switch tires. It's actually going to switch cars because I have, well, I should put them on this. That's what I should do. Oh, lots of flex there for a second. Made this a little bit tricky. So that's what I'll do actually. I will do the same car. I'll switch the tires over so that everything is the same as far as weight, except for the tires will be changed out. So you'll see the difference between the 2 sets of compounds and how the inserts work, because there's definitely more flex with them using these softer RC 4-wheel drive tires. But I've been very happy with them. I am in a bad spot here. The challenge of the mud pit. There it is. For those wondering if it's really worth doing, you can see what it can do to you there. I'll be dropping these little things all over now. All right, so now we got to do some uphilling. They get stuck in the wheels. Nice flex in there, pulling me up on the top. This is actually a hard line, and it just nailed it. Side hilling here. You can see that they hold pretty straight, which is good. Because I have a little air gap on the side and on the outside of the tires just to let them flex, but it doesn't really hurt the side heel too much. As you can see, they hold up pretty good. I'm gonna have to try and walk this somehow to bring that back end around. Let's give you another reverse point, I guess, just to reset ourselves here. Trying to avoid the gate as we do it. Trying to avoid both gates as we do it, honestly, because I'm hoping the back end will drop around as I do this. So we're not folding over too bad there, or pushing too bad. I need that back end to walk. Ooh, almost hit it with the front tires. Turning it, there we go. Now the hard part is I gotta go up here and pivot. I made my next gate at the bottom. So some people may want less flex than even these are giving. This truck's handling really good on here. You can see the tire flexing in front of the Eagle. It's showing off its flex. Ooh, really flexing there. Got all the weight on it. You can see it, but we got this. Just sliding our way down. Getting ourselves precarious now with that rock. I made that a hard one. I could potentially roll it forward at any point here. The back end is barely holding on. It's gonna drop, which is good. There we go. Watch that back gate. There. Nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch out the tires. I have the Little Guy Racing Trench Kings on my green truck, and I was just gonna run that to show the difference in the flex. You can see it wrap there. But yes, very, very nice traction from the tires with these. Right where I need it to be, not too soft, not too hard for them. The difference is these are just a really soft, and they're vented as well, I should mention. I put a hole on each side of it, so I think I did 4. Yeah, I did each side, basically a cross pattern in the tires to vent them to get even more squish, but they're very soft with very little touch. And then you've got firmer spots where the triangles are. So there's that, and then you can see this tire pattern is very similar, but it's a much boxier tire to it, and it's a much firmer rubber. But there is that air gap that gives you that little first bit of traction, and I actually feel like you don't see it play out on the video as much because the sidewalls are stiffer, but you're still getting that bite right there in the middle where it's kind of collapsing around and grabbing. So we'll show you how these things perform now. All right, here we go. Run 2. Tires are switched out, and we're gonna give it a go. And you'll see that these tires do not flex as much, but you will see them flexing. It's doing it there, especially in the middles. You'll see it, but you can watch and still see them kind of gripping around the rocks and things. So I just hit that gate because I wasn't looking at it with the back tire. It's focusing on the front. But again, this is just to map out a course so that both sets will have the same kind of approaches. So it's kind of repeatable here as far as lanes and lines, and we'll get an idea of how the traction and everything works between the different tires. So let's do it. There's a good bite on it. There's a definite squish. It's a much more subtle squish, but it is wrapping onto that rock, which is nice. I'm kind of in a precarious position here, so I'm gonna try and save that. This is definite reverses. We're just going to go ahead and take them, set ourselves up, and hopefully get that same nice drop we had with our rear tire on the other ones here. The moss isn't helping. There's a little bit of the drop I needed. That back end to just kick around. And there we go. Around it. So these are providing a ton of traction, which I really like about these tires. All right, let's see here. Bring it through here. And oh, definitely squish it in there, gripping on there. It's a much more subtle amount of flex, which is crazy because there's such an air gap that a lot of it is just the tires themselves. And these do, you can see here, they are vented. So I did vent the tires, but even with the air gap, because of the firmness of the tire, it's just a whole different ball game. With the rubber compounds and thicknesses and all that, changes things. All right, so we're gonna dive into the mud pit here, try and turn it, try not to break a drive shaft like we do. Slide it here. There it went. Hooked it around. Dropping beads. BB's coming out. All right, let's see if we can get up this. There's traction. Come on. Nice. The main thing is getting over it being hooked at the bottom. Once you're over that, you're pretty good. Side heel on these tires, I feel like, are awesome because they're firm. So they're not really gonna fold over. However, there's not a lot of grip on this course here. See that back end to spin around again. So basically we're getting the same lines here. Between the two trucks with the different tires, running the same inserts. That's going to hook that inside, and we're good. So where we needed reverses, we've had to do it for both of them. The only real gate hit was just me not paying attention because we were videoing, and we're not really counting for gates anyway. We're counting for how does it work the course. Oh, are we going to spin this? You can see the flex right there as it's gripping on. The other thing I like about these tires is the firmness makes them walk really good. I'm not gonna be able to do it one-handed, but they do walk the front end pretty good. Now I feel like I'm gonna have more traction coming through here. You can see the tires collapsing a little bit there under the weight. Both trucks slid. Both trucks are gonna get really... I'm gonna hit this rock because I did with the other one just to see what happens. We're not lifted nearly as bad though. All right. Not the easiest course, but both trucks did pretty good. Also not the hardest course either, but we'll see how here it's wrapping, especially on the inside of the tire that you can't see. It's compressing in there, which is good. We'll also kind of show the weight of the truck, just so people are curious. It's not the heaviest truck I have. It does have brass, it does have brass axles on it. So there's some definite weight there. Brass knuckles, brass axles. And so even with the truck being the weight that it is. But I mean, you can see the definite squish there. When the second it sits down, there's that little squish to it. Just kind of aired down a little bit. And it doesn't take much to make this go in, so you know that anything that it is gripping, it's just kind of that little inner part is going to be pushing in and grabbing on it. So, but yeah, anyway, guys, that is the pine tree tire inserts. These are running the green compound of them. It's not a different compound, but it's just green because of the wheels that we're running, and it's the smaller inner part again. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. As always, hope this helps you out if you're looking for something like this, or if you're looking at these pine tree inserts. We're doing them in limited quantities and not sure how long we'll be doing them for at this moment, but we'll definitely have a few releases of them here up front for people that are trying to get their hands on them and want to try them. But yeah, I'm only doing limited for many different reasons, but I am excited about them, and they've been working good for me, as you saw here. So definitely happy about that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, have fun RCing. Catch you next time.